I hope one of the most exciting days in the football season, the fixture release day. To be honest, I weren't really bothered, I was with my mate at work today and he was like, fixtures are out today, aren't they? And we were like, yeah. The fixtures. I'll quickly talk about the fixtures because a load of other crap has come along, which has been the absolute story of this post-season, pre-season. I don't know, it feels like last season's never ended. It just carried on like a tsunami of shit that's just going to lead into next season. Chill out, don't worry about it. But anyway, yes, the fixtures have come out. Some interesting fixtures and interesting in terms of possibilities for Wednesday. Obviously, we've got Leicester, that first game. Leicester, a club still being linked with our manager, Danny Roll. And the last game of the season, West Bromwich Albion, a club being linked with our captain, who at the moment, I understand, is wanting to sign a contract, but of course he's wanting to sign a contract that he knows he's going to, get paid. Can you imagine a doomsday scenario? Can you imagine that we open our campaign against Leicester, managed by our ex-manager and got some sort of spanking, at first day to start the season going. And then the last game of the season, our captain, who we couldn't afford to keep, had a blinder at Hillsborough for West Bromwich Albion, and I don't know, maybe scores a goal that sent us down. What a way to start and what a way to end that'd be. And definitely, I would not put that past everything that could happen to this club. I wouldn't, honestly. I mean, that's a worst case doomsday scenario. But you couldn't write that idea off, could you? You really couldn't as a Wednesday fan, because everything that seems far-fetched to fans of other clubs, supporters of other clubs, that's a bit, it's a bit much. It's a bit of a fairy tale, a bit of a nightmare scenario. But to us, it's reality. But there's no point talking about fixtures because of everything else that's going on. Now, the fixtures were released today. The players were due back for the first day of pre-season, which I gather is just a measuring exercise, really, to see where they are. And then there was a story yesterday in the papers, which I don't want to say broke, because it was, the worst kept secret in football, that Danny Roll don't want to be here. But apparently him and the club are talking now and trying to negotiate a way through this process of getting him out in the best way to suit him and the best way to suit Wednesday. And then, almost, if you were cynical, almost as if to sort of sideline these issues and these stories, the chairman releases a statement. Now, fair play, because they're usually at midnight, aren't they? So, releases a statement. It was actually my United supporting mate at work who told me, he's done a statement, so I'm reading it. What's he saying? Now, genuinely, when I heard he put a statement out in the middle of the day, I thought, I'm going to give him benefit of doubt, that it's not to try and bury that Danny Roll story, and it's not to try and bury the fact the players are due back for pre-season, we don't know how many is going to be there. I thought, no, take it at face value. Maybe he's going to come out, and we have been asking for answers. Maybe he's going to come out and say, right, here's the crack. I know the wages aren't paid. This is what I'm going to do. And it weren't, was it? It weren't. As I read through that statement, it reminded me of being at school. Now, I don't know what it was like at your school, but in our school, we had 2 yards. And the bottom yard was ball games, football, cricket, whatever. And the top yard tended to be, in them days, but we used to call it girls' yard, because they used to go up there and do skipping and whatever they did. But a lot of what they used to do up there is little clusters of them pointing at each other. She said, but she's a cow and she's a slag and but. And I didn't really have any time for that when I was a 10-year-old kid. I don't really got time for it now, and that is what that statement comes across as to me. Now, I've got it here just to remind myself some of the, I'm going to say key points, but it's all so childish, all of it. Not just him, by the way, but I genuinely thought it was going to be about, this is what's happening with wages, this is what's happening with embargo, this is plans for next season, this is what we're looking at doing with manager. It's none of that. He's arguing toss about the figures that have been bandied about in the press with a consortium that wants to buy the club. Should they be talking to press? It's not the way I'd do it if I were looking, I think obviously they've done that to try and turn the screw on him and sort of play it out in public, try and maybe force him to the table. Not how I'd do it, but that's how they've gone about it. But here's a man who, he don't want any NDAs when he's dealing with people. So you then can't say, well, these people are fucking talking to the press. Sit down with them properly and you all sign that off and say, right, it's between me and you. No other fucker needs to know until it's gone through. But no, it's all been played out in public. And what's been played out in public? Well, actually, very fucking little. Very little. They're arguing toss about the figures. Well, they've said it were in pounds, but it were actually in dollars and this and over. And just get on with it. It's right childish. It's done my nut. It's really done my nut. Skip through. He's on about wanting to meet with him, then somebody leaves him hanging on a Zoom call. To be fair, if he's old like me, he probably sat there staring at a computer and forgot to, turn on microphone and camera, because that's the sort of thing I'd do. So I'll never have a go at a middle-aged man's ability to use technology properly. But then we get to a really interesting bit. He said he'll meet them in person to talk if they give him 5 million notes up front. To talk to him. You'll get that back though. Really? Would you lend a man, and I'm saying this as nice as I can, would you lend a man who, to his own admission, has spaffed £150 million of his own personal fortune up against the wall and currently cannot afford to pay his everyday staff, no mind his players, his everyday staff, cleaners, groundsmen, whatever, car parkmen? Would you lend him 5 million notes on the promise of, don't worry, he'll get it back? No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. I wouldn't, you wouldn't. Nobody would. Now, apparently in business, I've been talking to somebody at work today, apparently this sort of thing can happen. There can be this thing, yeah, and it goes into a separate account, apparently they call it an escrow account. It sounds to me like some sort of Honda. Well, he's got one of them Honda escrows. It's one of new electric cars. Whatever. But apparently don't want that. He was like, no, don't worry about that. Just give it me and I'll look after it. I'm sure. And essentially he wanted that money to pay the players and the staff. You just would not do it. You would not do it. And then at the end, we do get a little bit of an owning up to I take full responsibility for being unable to fulfil my current obligations, but a further obligation I have is to ensure that if the club is sold, it's sold to the right people with the right credentials who can sustain Sheffield Wednesday and take the club forward. That's sort of bog standard statement that you'd expect anybody selling a club. And then he understands that his fans aren't happy and don't believe everything you read in social media and listen to in social media. Don't believe everything you read in the media, he says, by putting a statement out for the media. Anyway. He finishes off by saying he does, want to crack on with the business and not getting involved in this, even though he's got involved in this, and saying he's still looking for people to invest in the club. Am I reading too much into the choice of words there? If you're being direct, and he does like to be direct, if you're being direct, would you not say, I'm still looking for people to buy the club? I'm still looking for people to invest in the club. Can quite easily be read as, I'm still trying to borrow money because I've got absolutely no intention of fucking up. That's how I'm reading it. They call me cynical. That's how I'm reading it. So there we go with that. So we've got Danny, obviously on his way, don't want to come back. The players have come back for training today. Barry Bannon's there, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. I don't know a single person really in real life who wouldn't be absolutely delighted if Barry Bannon signed up for this coming season. And you're going to need every ounce of experience in squad this season. No sign of Firmino and Patterson. That's a very bad sign for me, unless there's some issues with fitness or they're working somewhere else and coming back at a later date. I don't know. But that's a very bad sign for me. Hello? Hey up, son. How are you doing? Xbox? No. I got rid of mine years ago. Retro. I think I have got an old PlayStation 1 in loft. Yeah. Well, you can have that if you want. Oh, are they? Well, it's got a knack. I'm not sure that I think it got a knackered driver when I. Oh, are they? Well, yeah, you can have it. But I mean, I paid good money for it at the time. Yeah, just gears. Should we call it $2,000? Well, I thought you wanted one. Man, well, you should have said you want one, haven't I? Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, driver needs fixing. No, I can't go lower than $2,000. No, I ain't looked after it, but no, honestly, $2,000 you can have me. But listen, I don't like talking on phone. You know me. Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do, son. I'll meet you in Bowser. We'll talk in person. How's that? All right. Now, if I send you my bank details, if you just transfer 500 notes. But well, if you send me 500 notes through, then I'll meet you in person. Well, yeah, it might be football fixing. You'll get your 500 notes back then. Don't worry about it. Al? Oh, fucking. Where were I? Oh, yeah. So, no Patterson, no Firmino. But I do want to finish on a positive. The new training kit. Did you see that? I like that. Not going to buy one because he's not having another penny. But I do like the look of that new training kit. I've got a picture here. Far prefer that to that grey and sort of minty green one. Do you know what I mean? I weren't a big fan of that last year. I can't put our struggles down to that, although I'm quite superstitious. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. This one looks far, far better. And that might be one of the only things we've got to trade about this season, to be honest with you, the way it's looking. Did see a photo earlier. Josh Windass, he's back in training. That's good. He's a saleable asset. That's how I'm looking at everybody now, saleable assets. And he looks quite smart there in his training kit. Don't look right happy, although I'm going to be fair to him. That's exactly the face I have when I come back to work after my summer holidays. So, not reading too much into that. So yes, an update. Trying to talk managers' way out and come to some sort of arrangement, which should have been done 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. I want to go, I'm not coming back. Right, this is my asking price for you. Oh, nobody wants to meet it. Let's negotiate it out. But any bonuses you were due, if you waiver them, I'll lower asking price. If I get $500,000 for you, you can fuck off. As long as you waiver bits that you're owed. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Should have been done 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. So there's that. Bannon's back in training. Patterson for Mayo, apparently no sign of them, so that's a worry. Can't sign players for money. Can't sign long players for money. Can't pay long players, percentage of wages. Players who go 2 months without being paid can put in a fortnight's notice until they do get paid. The chairman's putting out tit-for-tat arguments with people online. What a world we live in. I remember when I was a kid, we used to have a pop. We had a chairman, then some of you will remember, some of you won't, but we used to have a chairman, Bert McGee. And the argument at the time was, bit tight, Bert McGee. You know, if he just pushed Bolt out, if he'd give Wilkinson that extra bit of money to try and get Lineker from Leicester or whatever, and that would always argument. We never had any of this shit. You can't imagine them in this scenario of arguing toss with fans in public, online. You just can't imagine that scenario. You also can't imagine club absolutely spunking money everywhere and being totally in shit and not being able to pay everyday staff. So there's that. What else are we missing? Oh yeah, apparently training ground not quite ready. We'll end up probably training at one at university pitches. Might be probably better facilities anyway. Championship club. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. One of my mates at work has told me, you've got to keep your video short, Jim, to about 2 or 3 minutes. That's more to do with your attention span, Mark. Stop watching Married at First Sight and Love Island and all that other dirge that you're watching. Anyway, see you later.